Today we are going to draw a pumpkin with a patterned background. And your background later can be anything you want. And we'll talk about that in a couple seconds. First thing you want to do is hold your paper side to side. You're going to start in a pencil. If you start in a Sharpie, you can make a mistake and we can't erase it. I'm going to draw on each side to show you if you want to draw your pumpkin on the left or if you want to draw your pumpkin on the right. It's the same way, but I just want you to see the difference. If you want your pumpkin on the right, we're going to start with a curve, kind of come to a point almost, come back up, so you're making a heart shape, and then you're going to swoop it all the way back. If you want it on the right, it's the same idea. Come to the right, come to almost the middle, to a point, making a heart shape, and then you swoop all the way back. Now, my pumpkin's not perfect. That's okay. No pumpkins in the patch are perfect. Next, you are going to draw your stem. Now, to make your stem look realistic, you want to add an ellipse, which is a small pancake-shaped circle, an oval. So make an oval, kind of like a little halo above. Once you make a little halo, curve your stem into your pumpkin. And I'll do it again for this paper. Make my halo, my lip shape, and then I make my stem. And it doesn't have to be perfect. When you're ready, add your lines to make it look realistic. And I'll do the same on this one. Now they're going to look the same. So we're going to use one for now. Because now that you've drawn the pumpkin, the rest of the directions are the same. Starting in the middle right here, you're going to kind of make a point to the bottom. So you have 2 points. Start with a point. You're going to curve, make a teardrop shape, and come all the way back up. When you do the next one, start from that point, curve, and try to come as close as you can. Again, start with the curve, come all the way around. One more time, start with the curve, and come as far as you can. Now I'm going to just come to about here on that one. Now, it kind of looks like an onion. So to make it not look like an onion, you want to draw the lines on the top of the pumpkin. So that gives it a realistic look. And I have a lot of lines on my pumpkin, but that's okay. After you've drawn your pumpkin, I would trace it now so it's not confusing. So I would trace your pumpkin now with a marker. Use a Sharpie. If you don't have a Sharpie, use a color pencil, a black color pencil, a black crayon, or a black Crayola marker. But if your marker is not permanent, you're going to not be able to use watercolors because it's going to smear. So make sure if you don't have a Sharpie and you're using a water-based marker, you can't use watercolors. Once you've traced your pumpkin, you are going to draw sun rays. Each one of these sun rays is going to be a different pattern. Make sure your sun rays go all the way to the edge of the page. So if this one you want, let's say you can do a fall theme, so we can do spiders and acorns and leaves, or you can just do patterns in it. I have put examples of patterns for you in our Schoology folder under the assignment. You can also go on the web, on the internet, and you guys can look up some ideas for patterns or pictures. But I wouldn't go too crazy with the pictures because you're going to have to trace them all and color them. So don't make things super tiny. The smaller they are, it's going to take forever to trace. So I'm just going to do blobs on this one. Let's do blobs. It's just as an idea, like paint blobs. Something a little different. Maybe some zigzags I have here. Like I said, don't make them too close together. One, you're going to have to trace, and two, you're going to have to color all of them. Otherwise, it's going to take way too long. So each one of these sun rays that you drew is going to be a different design. If you get super stuck on design, you can always repeat them. Okay. Now, I'm going to use watercolors because I want to show you how to use the watercolors to paint your pumpkin. But if you don't have watercolors, I'm also going to show you how to use a crayon. Now, I know you know how to use a crayon, but what you can do is you can actually press harder on the outside of the pumpkin, on each segment of the pumpkin, like this. You can do the same thing with a color pencil also. And then you can lightly shade in the inside. So that gives it kind of a cool three-dimensional look to your pumpkin. I'll do the other side, and I'll do the other one in watercolors. So you're going to do the same thing with if you had a crayon only. If you have watercolors, you're going to do something very similar. You're going to take your paint, you're going to trace the shape first with your color. So trace it as dark as you can. So go around a couple times, make this dark. I know normally we try to go light with watercolors. Then I just take water and I just start smearing. So then I get this really cool effect of that shadow effect also. So that's the two ways you can do it with either crayon or with watercolors. For the background, you can use watercolors, color pencils, crayons. If you didn't use, you can use marker also. If you're going to use marker, make sure you do the watercolor first because your marker might smear. If you're questioning that, let me show you. Let me grab my marker just to show you what happens. So if I use a marker and I color my shapes with the marker, just to show you this, and then I take my watercolor and paint the background, it's going to smear. So I would definitely not use a watercolor or a water-based marker before I use my watercolor. So use watercolors first, markers second. And I think that's it for you guys. So take your time, go slow, color pencils, crayon, marker, watercolors, whatever you want to use. We talked about the directions on which way to do everything. Go slow. When you're finished, take a really nice picture. Make sure that you upload your picture into Schoology so I can see your assignment. Make sure that you submit it. And I can't wait to see your pictures. Remember, this is not a quick project. It is going to take a while. There's a lot of details. So I cannot wait to see your pictures.